Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I'm Sam.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Bernard. I'm doing the same bit as from the Lost episode.
Ik bin Trish.
That's not the language they curse in this game.
No, it's not.
And today we will be restarting our coverage of Clair Obscur Expedition 33, playing until we complete the prologue. But before we get started with that, why are we referring to a lost episode?
Because all of us had technical difficulties, and we didn't realize they were bad enough for us to stop recording.
And we tried recording in spite of them, and it truly sounds like we hate each other.
It fucking sucks. That's on the bonus feed if you want to listen to it for some reason. It has some sort of fun behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
But also it sucks.
It sucks pretty bad.
This game deserves better than that.
It does.
Absolutely. What has everybody been up to since either the last time we recorded or the last time that the people have heard us?
Okay, so last week was probably the most physically demanding week of my life because work got crazy. I don't think any individual day was the most physically demanding day of my life, but I was pushing myself to almost to the limit every day for a whole work week, and it was rough because we've been launching some new projects at work. I do delivery stuff, so that involves carrying a bunch of stuff a lot. And so we've been launching some new projects. It's been a total mess. It's gone very poorly. But this week has been more chill. It's still physically demanding because it's going to be a physically demanding job. But I'm alive. And other than that, I've been spending most of the time when I have the energy to playing my own video game because I need to play test it a bunch and we need to fix bugs that I keep finding. I think maybe we've reached a point where I'm finding them at a slower rate now. So I think that's good. But if this episode goes up when it should, and we don't have to kill another episode, we don't have to do this a third time. If that doesn't happen, and if we release the game unexpected, the game will be coming out the day after this episode goes up.
Ooh.
Hell yeah.
So I'm freaking out.
Holy shit! Exciting!
I've been working on this game for 5 years.
I'm so happy for you.
I'm freaking out.
Meanwhile, so I still love my job. Working at a library is great, but I'm here to complain about a part that's not as great. So, on the one hand, it's hard it feels weird for me to complain about things like the accruing of sick and vacation days, because I've worked at a number of jobs where I didn't get that shit. That just wasn't a thing we had. If you didn't show up to work, you could call in sick, you ain't getting paid for it. That just wasn't happening. So, I try to treasure being in any job where I have those things. But also, the rate of accrual is at this job, every month I get 5.5 hours of sick time, which is just under one shift, because I do 6-hour shifts. And I get 3 1/3 vacation hours, which is a little over half of a shift.
That's an interesting way to do it.
Yeah, so it means I get fuck all, really. The amount of it really sucks. It doesn't, and we all hate it. We've talked about it, and it's clear that we're planning on negotiating soon with the town council, or we're in the middle of doing so, and hopefully we'll get a resolution soon that will improve it. But that with some other stuff has me, combined with the fact that I just started reading a romance novel that not only has a trans protagonist, which is really great, and also the writing for her and the Butch character are incredible and very relatable. But both characters are doing union stuff, and I'm starting to be like, should I unionize this library?
I was about to say you should unionize your workforce.
I should. I reached out to there's a larger organization that would be good to help with that, who could, tell me how to start that process and what kind of things to do. So I've poked at that. I'm thinking of doing that. That would be great. I'd love to. I don't think this would technically be salting a workplace, but it's I'd like to be the bee in the bonnet. It gets it kind of rolling. What about you, Sam?
So I have become. So you know how every job has the guy that likes their job too much and makes everything a living hell for everyone else.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm that guy. So
Me too.
This morning I woke up at 3 a.m. and couldn't go back to sleep. So I watched more of my Udemy course that I'm taking to learn full stack programming at work. I had dreams about the problems I was having with work yesterday and how to fix them. On Saturday I got an idea for a thing, and it was Saturday evening, and I came in and sat at my work desk, and I did extra work, and it's nuts and it's stupid, but good for me because I'm really enjoying my new unofficial position. But it seems like the farther we go on, the more it's going to be that it's just going to be my position. Like, I'm not going to have the assistant level or whatever, because a thing about me is when I am given a task, I just want to do the task, which is one of the reasons why I'm so bad at keeping on top of my tickets for my support role, because like I will be working on my tickets and I'll be working through that, and then somebody will be like, "Oh, hey, this thing is broken," and I'm like, "Okay, let me go and do that thing. It's a task that's been given to me right now, and you can't do everything right now," and so it ends up with not a lot of things getting done. But now that I have one big task that I've been working on, it's like I'm not going to goof off and not do stuff. I'm going to sit down and get to work on it. And the fact that I did not know JavaScript a month ago, and I'm now probably 2 weeks away from turning in an entire full stack app that was asked of me, I think that's going to carry me pretty far. And I'm probably will like just get the full job, but I don't want to jinx it. But when I haven't been coding for work for fun, I've been coding on Possum Boy for fun. And by for fun, I mean Raj is the best boy, and I want him to die.
Yeah, he is the culprit behind so many bugs.
So many bugs.
If you play the game and you do Raj's route, I hope you appreciate it, because most of the work has been on that route.
And to be fair, it is like probably my favorite route in the game, but we made it complicated because we're dumb, and complicated things break a lot. But when I haven't been coding for work or coding for fun, I've been playing Donkey Kong Bonanza, and holy fucking shit. Without spoilers, this is the team that made Mario possess Bowser as a neat little surprise at the end of Mario Odyssey. And yeah, there's something a lot like that at the end of this game, but it's like 3 hours long instead of a 5-minute little thing. And the whole time I was just like, oh hell yes, oh hell yes, oh my god, oh my god, oh hell yes, oh my god. And it's so freaking good. And then when I beat it, instead of having to go to Toadette to look at all of your checklist or whatever, you can just look at it in the menu, and there are 1,300 collectibles in this game. So there's so much game in this game. It's so good. I absolutely love it. Big recommend.
I really want to play it. You're making it sound really fun.
Yeah, it's really good. I am not near as far.
If you don't currently have a Switch 2 and you're going to go buy one, I will go as far as to say that you should get the non-bundle and not get Mario Kart and get Donkey Kong Bonanza instead. I think Mario Kart is really good. I think Mario Kart will be better later. But I think that Donkey Kong Bonanza, as it is right now, is the killer app for the Switch 2.
Yeah, it's the must-have game.
Yeah, it's so freaking good. If you're going to get both, get the bundle because saving $30 is saving $30. But if you're not going, if you're only going to get one game, it should be Donkey Kong Bonanza. It's
One of these
so
paychecks, I'm gonna switch to. Well, the first Switch 2 I'm gonna get for my Emma because I love her and she's been working towards it for a while. But the second one will be for me.
hell yeah. But yeah. Other than that, I just been not playing Clair Obscur because I didn't want to get too far ahead, but I really wanted to be playing Clair Obscur, so we should talk about why.
Dans là-haut sera ravi, les toits à sur noir griffera. Clair obscur, trouble de rature, trouvera effet. Clair obscur, bordé aux peintures, trouvera sans elle. Clair obscur, trouble de rature, trouvera effet. Clair obscur, bordé aux peintures, trouvera sans elle.
So, a little about this game. We're late to the party on this game, so you probably know more about this than we do. So,
I mean, it came out this year. We're more punctual to this party than we usually are, where the game came out in 1993 or something.
yeah, it just has sold a bajillion copies, and everyone has it as their game of the year. So, especially amongst our demographic, we're probably really late to this game. So, as always, I will get so many things wrong, and you can yell at me in the Discord for all of my mistakes. So, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is the first game in the Clair Obscur series, developed by Sandfall Interactive, produced by Francois Meurice, directed by Guillaume Broche,
Not going to help you with any of these.
written by Jennifer Svedberg Yen. That one's Swedish. That's Germanic. I know that. I know how to pronounce those. And with game design by Michel Nora and Thomas Frappart. No idea if I got any of those right, except I'm pretty certain I got Jennifer's right. But I call out these guys in particular out of the like only 20 guys that worked on it. Guys being colloquial for friends, buddies, people, not for men, because notably Jennifer is not male. But I call out these people in particular because it's these areas of the game that are absolutely next level amazing. So after leaving Ubisoft, Guillaume Broche got to work on his first independent game and put out a call on Reddit for a voice actor to help read some scratch lines. Jennifer Svedberg Yen saw this post and agreed to read for 2 roles, and she also had some notes on how to improve the characters that she was reading for and for the game at large. But this game, importantly, was not Clair Obscur. This was a game called We Lost, which was a much smaller steampunk game set in London. And Svedberg Yen loved Broche's plan for a turn-based RPG with action combat, and the two of them spent a few months developing the narrative Bible together for We Lost. But when they went to shop this pitch around to investors, all the investors said that this idea wasn't viable and that they needed to go bigger. In an interview with Polygon, Svedberg Yen recalls that they said, assume you had more resources and think bigger. They had been hedging their bets because they were going indie, but for the first time I've ever heard of in video games, the people with the money weren't looking for a safe bet. They were looking for something bigger. So they went back to the drawing board and went hog wild with it and came up with Expedition 33. The only surviving remnants of We Lost were the names, not characters, just the names of Lune and Mael. Everything else, they started over from scratch. With Svedberg Yen now taking the lead for the scenario and world building. She lists Robert Jordan as her main inspiration, specifically his expansive lived-in worlds and the cause and effect relationship between the worlds and institutions that he writes, and then the livelihood of the regular people that live within it. And she wanted this one to have the high concept part of it, but then drill it down to what does this high concept mean for regular people. On the design side of everything, Broche and Maurice, the producer, both had a love for turn-based RPGs with action combat, but surprisingly, their influences didn't have any overlaps. Maurice says that Broche was showing him Final Fantasy VIII and Final Fantasy X for the first time, and Maurice was showing Broche Paper Mario and stuff for the first time. And so they
That's so amazing.
so they both were in love with this thing and had no idea how the other half of them were going. The team was primarily inspired by Final Fantasy X for its pacing, party dynamics, and narrative, and by Persona 5 for its game feel. You're never bored in Persona 5 because the battles are fast and fun. And the team designed each character to play completely differently in battle with their own whole subsystems and mechanics so that they could allow for tons of expression and play style. And just from the little bit that I've played, the main part of the battle system for me is not the action combat. It is just how much game there is in the battle system. And yeah, but it's enough about the history. Let's talk about what actually happens in the prologue to this game.
Real quick, I gotta say, can you imagine how much less interesting this game would be if it were steampunk Victorian England?
Oh, yeah. There are so many steampunk Victorian England games, and that's fine. Some of them are
nothing
good,
against that.
but like the fact that this is what it is part of what makes it so unique.
France punk. So Clair Obscur opens on what appears to be the city of Paris in ruins and in the middle of the ocean. If you don't know your geography, that's not normal. The buildings look like they've been devastated by a terrible earthquake. The Eiffel Tower is bent and twisted. The Arc de Triomphe is split in two, its halves framing an avenue which now leads to a harbor to the ocean. On the other side of the water is an enormous monolith under a halo of light. The number 34 glows ominously upon the monolith. A giant figure with long white hair sits curled up in front of it. Some extremely French-ass music plays. This is the city of Lumiere. A very handsome man in a very fashionable suit with a very mechanical arm stands on a rooftop garden. He contemplates a flower, then distracts himself by throwing rocks in the direction of the monolith. The Frenchest girl you've ever seen walks up. She wears a white shirt with thin black stripes and a fancy little red handkerchief scarf thing. She is so French.
She is... The French levels are off the charts.
She says that if he's going to give someone flowers, he should probably do it before they wither and die. The man, Gustave, asks whether the girl, Maëlle, is referring to the flower or to Sophie. Maëlle is like, lol. Though they can still crack jokes, the mood is dark, because this is a somber day. Maëlle chastises Gustave for not helping with the preparations for the Expedition Festival, which he skipped out on because there's not much to prepare anyway. Gustave throws another rock, and Maëlle asks if he could try to hit the paintress, since that might actually be useful. Gustave muses that soon they'll get to do a lot more than throw rocks. Maëlle says that's what the other expeditions said too, but Gustave is not hearing it. He says they gave their lives to lay the trail for us. Maëlle turns the subject back to the flower and Sophie. Gustave doesn't know how he can give Sophie the flower. They've been apart for 4 years, so what can he say to her on this, the day of her gommage? We take control of Gustave and pick up the flower. Or we can forget to pick up the flower and not realize we have to do that and go talk to Maëlle, and Maëlle's like, pick up the fucking flower. Maëlle says she'll accompany Gustave on the way to Sophie and takes off across the rooftops at a full fucking sprint.
It is so jarring.
She's so fucking fast. Like, I think she might be the fastest runner since Kaim from Lost Odyssey. I don't think it's ever come close, but now she has surpassed. She's just so fucking fast.
Lost Odyssey was cited, I believe, as one of the many influences on this game, which rules because Lost Odyssey is the best JRPG.
Damn, that's a big statement.
Yeah, it's 100% factual.
That is my actual opinion. I'm not being hyperbolic. That is my opinion that I've thought about and come to.
Okay, I'm gonna take a note on that. Thank you.
While Maëlle sprints, she drops details about Gustav and Sophie as she makes conversation. She mentions that she can't believe Sophie is already 33 with how much younger than Gustav she looks. And even though they broke up so long ago, Gustav clearly never got over Sophie. On the way to the red and white tree where Sophie is waiting, Maëlle challenges Gustav to a duel to both break him out of his funk and clumsily introduce a battle tutorial. It's immediately apparent that this battle system is gonna be fucking wild. And this tutorial, like, you can tell this tutorial's not even scratching the surface. So let's not talk about it for now.
No, there will be a lot more interesting stuff to tell you about next week.
Yeah.
So Maëlle's like, great, now you're not so tense. And I'm like, isn't he like sweaty and like beat up from doing a practice battle? Is that better than being a little tense? I don't know. But Maëlle hangs back as Gustav approaches the red and white tree. Sophie, who is even Frencher than Maëlle was, turns to him. She wears a fucking beret on top of her French bob hair. I love it. She also wears a necklace of flowers, a tradition for the day of one's gommage. Gustav offers to add his flower to it, if there's room. Sophie says there's always room. Gustav and Sophie stutter awkwardly for a bit before they successfully initiate a conversation. It's clear that they still care for each other, but something drove them apart. Even so, Sophie says she never faulted Gustav for wanting to believe. Maybe in a different world. ... Gustav says we'll break the cycle, so she can't steal anyone else's future. Sophie seems skeptical, but she admits that stubborn people change the world, and Gustav is the most stubborn person she knows. She asks him to walk her to the harbor, and he says yes in a really weird way. Am I the only one that noticed that or thought that the way he says yes is fucking weird?
I do not remember, but I would believe you, because in general, the voice acting on him is a little strange.
I think his voice acting is like fine and good overall, but something about that line was so weird to me.
I think it's good. I just think he does sometimes sound weird.
Yeah. As we walk to the harbor, we can switch between controlling Gustav or Sophie. Gustav says he can't imagine what Sophie's going through, but Sophie says she's fine. She's lived 33 good years. She and the rest have had their whole lives to prepare. They're all fine. Mostly. Gustav says he isn't fine. On the way through a plaza full of people gathered to celebrate or commemorate the gommage, we might speak with an NPC and learn that Gustav and Sophie broke up because he wanted to have children, but she did not. She didn't want to bring children into this doomed world. She doesn't seem to believe in a future the way Gustav does. Once we've finished exploring the plaza, Gustav and Sophie make their way towards the harbor to await the gommage. On the way, some children, Gustav's apprentices, run up and hand him a parcel. It's his coat, on which they've performed some needed alterations. They say it was Sophie's idea, and she's the one who taught them how to sew. Sophie admits that she wanted to do something for Gustav. The children run off, and Sophie says she wanted to see Gustav wearing the coat. Sophie puts the coat on Gustav, but like his entire outfit changes. It wasn't just his coat, it was his full expeditioner uniform, so I guess he got fully changed in the middle of the street. Maybe that's how they do it in France.
I was about to say, how French of him.
Anytime there's some sort of weird disconnect because of it being a video game, and video games always having some sort of disconnect between how things making sense, it's just going to be like, that's how they do it in France.
Mm-hmm.
Gustave and Sophie hold hands and stare across the harbor at the monolith as the sun sets. The enormous figure of the paintress stands and waves her hand. The number 34 disappears, and in its place appears the number 33. Around the city, people disappear into clouds of red petals and ash. Gustave tells Sophie he's here. Sophie, through tears, says she knows. Perhaps she wasn't as prepared as she thought. She too disappears. By this point, the paintress has sat back down in her original position. The gommage is over, and everyone of the age of 33 has been scrubbed away from Lumiere. Later that night, Gustave enters the sparse expedition festival. Some of his fellow expeditioners try to cheer him up. It doesn't really work. One points out that they have 5 tables this year. Apparently, this beats the showing of the 34s. Seems not many people are volunteering for the expeditions these days. Miles stands alone on a pier in an expeditioner uniform, being all gloomy. Gustave goes over to check on her and asks if she's having second thoughts about the expedition. Turns out, despite being only 16 years old, Maëlle has volunteered for this year's expedition. Usually only those with 1 year left before their grammage go, but Maëlle was quite insistent. Gustave makes a final attempt to talk her out of it, convince her to spend her remaining 9 years in Lumiere. She says 1 year out there is better than 9 years in here. She goes on and on about how she doesn't have any friends or family here. Lumiere's not her home. Gustave points out that he and his sister Emma are Maëlle's guardians and think of her as family. And she's like, no, I'm so alone in Ema. Of course, I don't yet know what Maëlle's whole deal is, but maybe she's just being a teenager. As we go about the festival, we get some more world building, most of it delivered quite clumsily. I will say I love the writing in this game. The dialogue is fantastic. The concept is fantastic. The world building's really cool. Just at this part, you literally walk up to a guy and he's like, I challenge you to a contest of Lumiere history. And you literally just have like a little quiz about about basic world building facts.
It's a bit silly.
It's very silly. Anyway, here's what we glean. 67 years ago, there was an event called the Fracture, which was the beginning of the world's current state. Lumiere was cast into the ocean, isolated from the rest of the world. The first number on the monolith was 100, and it counts down each year, marking a gommage each time. Since Expedition 0 left in year 100, expeditions have gone away from Lumiere to attempt to destroy the Paintress each year, but clearly, none have succeeded. There's stuff called Lumina. There's stuff called Pictos. There's stuff called Shield Domes. There's stuff called Nevrons. It's not really clear what any of it is yet. Like, we get little things. Nevrons seem to be some sort of monster bad thing. Lumina is some sort of energy or something that, and Gustave invented a Lumina converter. But we don't really get much about all this stuff yet. We just get to learn a bunch of proper nouns. And you know me, I love learning proper nouns.
It's pretty fun.
One of my favorite types of noun. Eventually, Gustave's sister Emma shows up. Turns out she's the chief counselor of Lumiere. And turns out she thinks the expeditions are a fool's errand, going so far as to call them a bloodless guillotine. She only goes along with it because she says it's a necessary political theater to keep up morale in the city. So naturally, she isn't happy about Gustave going on an expedition. She says he could do so much here in Lumiere that would make a real impact. But Gustave says she's got it handled. She's doing a great job here getting things ready for the last generation. And his part is to go out there and win them a chance to live. Emma tells Gustave to at least look after Maëlle, and that she can't believe he's letting her go with them. He's like, hey, you're her guardian too. You stop her. Emma's like, well, we can't just tell her what to do. That wouldn't be good parenting. Anyway, it's time for Emma's speech. She gives an inspiring yet insincere address to the expeditioners. She says that as they sail into the unknown, Lumiere stands with them, When they battle the paintress, Lumiere fights with them. Let the stones of her monolith crumble. Let her body lie at the end of the world, unable to paint another death. Let the stars no longer be hidden by her oppressive silhouette. Let the world once again watch the sun rise without the shadow of her cursed figure. May the wind of renewal take you to the end of the earth. Tomorrow comes. Thanks to you, Expedition 33. In the dead of night, Expedition 33's ship reaches land, a dark and twisted hellscape. As they disembark, a figure approaches. As it closes in, they can see it's a man who looks to be in his 60s. One expeditioner, who I think is the leader of the expedition, I wasn't paying a ton of attention while going around talking to NPCs at the festival, but I think he's the leader of the expedition. Anyway, he's like, what the fuck? You're old. How did you survive the Gamage? Which expedition are you from? The old man cuts the dude's head off with his cane. Before the expeditioners can retreat, bolts of magical energy start bombarding the beach. Things start snatching expeditioners into the darkness. Gustav finds himself facing a giant monster made of hands. It has very upsetting animation. It strikes, and the screen goes black. So, Expedition 33 is not off to a great start.
No. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is off to a fantastic start, but Expedition 33 itself, no.
Yeah, Clair Obscur is off to a great start. I am hooked.
But let's listen to some French-ass music and then talk about our memorable moments.
I love the dialogue in this game. I was just freaking out about the fact that, it's the day of the Gamage, which is this horrible, horrible thing that happens that is a threat to their very existence, which literally is counting down to their end, and they're still making jokes about it. I think that's really realistic. I think that's great. People do make jokes about shit like that. And I love that the writers aren't having the characters take it so seriously all the time, because that's not what we do, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm. It's a really fascinating prologue because the way you go through it slowly through the environment and the conversations, picking up on exactly what's happening, is really great, especially unlike the other two. I had no clue what the premise of this game was, and so I had the slow dawning realization of what a Grammage was, and being like, oh no!
It's bad.
It's bad, and it really gets you in the mindset of this society where, like, grief is just, like, a central part of everyone's lives now, because a huge part of the population, someone is going to die every year, and it feels like your whole society is on its way to dying. There's only so many years left, and it's really interesting in that way. You brought up the thing with Maëlle, and I honestly, I feel like I do really get, regardless of how she treats Gustav, and I get her wanting to be in the expedition despite being 16. Her logic was just like just staying in Lumiere. The environment here is just so suffocating, especially for a teenager. The idea of being like, yeah, I would so much rather just go out and probably die, because at least then I'm fucking doing something.
Mm-hmm. I love how just in this prologue we see basically all of the different responses to tragedy, where you have the like Gustav is like, oh well, there's hope for the future, and his sister is like, no, there's fucking not. You have Mael that's like, if I'm going to die, I might as well go out with a bang. And like you see all of the different sort of ways that one could respond to this sort of thing, and it's good. Everyone is believable. No one is like not believable.
Mm-hmm. There's also something to the way everyone looks at the expeditions. It reminds me of some similar structures in other media. Specifically, I was thinking of the Night's Watch in A Song of Ice and Fire, or whatever the fuck they're called in Attack on Titan. I don't remember. But like, they're like, oh yeah, it's just like, if you sign up for this, you're gonna die. Like, there is no bones about it. It is a doomed profession. It is a doomed organization by nature. And I think that what this does that those others don't quite do is there is just this element of like, yeah, but it's literally our only hope, and the alternative is probably worse. Like, yeah, we could go out and get cut in half by this old man, but if you stay in the city, you're just gonna disappear into flowers in a year. So who gives a shit? The destination is the same. The journey is what's more interesting.
Yeah, and I like Sam said, I really enjoy seeing people's different reactions to this situation. Gustav, funny enough, Gustav is sort of the archetypical plucky JRPG hero who's like 14 years old, except he's 32 and acts more like an adult. But he's very much like, we can do it. We can.
You're so right. You've just reframed his character in a way that I actually find interesting now. I'm like, because I do just look at him like, oh, here's another mid-30s bearded white guy protagonist. Okay, and it's like, no, you're right. It does have the JRPG protag energy. It's just hidden behind that face.
And I also find it funny how, in JRPGs there'll always be like the character who's really fucking old, and then it turns out he's like 32. And in this game, you have your 32-year-old protagonist being told he's an old man, and he's like, "What? No, I'm not." And Miles like, "You're the oldest man. The oldest a man can be."
But along those lines, normally every JRPG is 16-year-olds with a random old guy who's only 30, and now it's backwards where it's all 32-year-olds with a random young girl who's only 16.
Man, I fell in love with this game very quickly.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I think there's a good chance of me falling in love with it eventually. I'm not there yet, but I'm definitely intrigued.
Did y'all find the guy who's hiding in a trash can?
No. Who?
So if you go up to, there are multiple trash cans in the city as you're exploring, and if you go up to them, it'll just be like, and investigate it, it'll just say, it's a normal trash can, or something like that. But there's one trash can, you go up to it and investigate it, and it says something a little more flowery, like, you can tell this is a perfectly normal trash can. And then if you investigate it again, it will say something like, indeed, there is no doubt that there is nothing unusual about this trash can. And if you investigate it a few times, a guy's voice comes out of the trash can. He's like, shut up, I'm trying to hide from the paintress. Today's my birthday.
Oh my god.
I can't believe my parents had such bad timing. And so I figure if I hide in this trash can, maybe the paintress won't get me.
That is so hilarious and so fucked up at the same time.
I'm glad in game they say it's everyone older than that of that age dies, because all of the marketing was like everyone who is that age dies, but everybody gets older 1 year at a time, and numbers count down 1 year at a time, which means only every other year to some of one's life would they die. So it's like if you're 32 and 33 comes on the board. Well, next year you're going to be 33 and it's going to say 32 on the board. And so you're off scot-free. But in the game, they do address it, and they fix my only world building complaint about the world building.
Yeah, it's an interesting and fucked up premise, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hell of an elevator pitch.
Yeah, it's so cool. Speaking of the fact that all JRPGs have to start with a mini game festival, the mini games fucking are stupid here. They're not full mini games, but they're like tiny little quests to do and stuff, a la Chrono Trigger. But you get to one and it's like, oh, you only have one token and there's 3 people that want tokens, so you have to go around and find new tokens so that you can get all the stuff. You get a broken Picto, you get a key that you have no idea if it's even useful for anything, and the last one is actually usable, but you just put your hair up in a ponytail. And it's like,
Excuse you, in a bun.
In a bun.
And I'm really glad they offered that, because it made Gustav distinct from every other man here for me. Because before that, he was in a conversation with one NPC in particular. I was like, I'm glad you have name things come up for who's saying what, because otherwise I couldn't tell.
I did not have that.
Gustav has messy long hair, and that guy has neat long hair.
Yes, a huge difference, of course.
Yeah, I do not have that problem at all. I feel all of the named characters have surprisingly unique character designs for being all wearing the same clothes.
I went into a lot of granular detail on this because we're covering a short part of the game, and I wanted to effectively set up everything that was happening, but there was still a lot that I didn't cover. Like, there's this character Lune, who it turns out is gonna be a big deal. She talked about how, like, she's calculated the path that Expedition Zero took, and we're going to land there, and she's like, I don't actually know if that's going to help. And it sounds like it didn't.
Yeah. In that thing, she says it's the only one that, like, had any survivors, and it's
what does that mean?
And it's the only one that, like, made any sort of progress that anybody knows about. So it's the best idea she's gotten, which then is like, if this is the best that they've done, holy shit, what the fuck happened on all 66 other expeditions for standing there and everyone getting instantly owned is the best shot they got.
I can't say anything because I've been a little bit further and there's some really interesting stuff.
You might have expected a bit more of a slow burn for the expedition being rough, but it's real rough right off the bat.
Like, in some stories, like, having a big shocking thing like that isn't earned whatsoever, but in this one and the other one that comes to mind is Game of Thrones. Though Game of Thrones, it happens, the one that I like is at the end of season 1, end of book 1.
Hell yeah. I know what you're talking about. I love it.
And it's like the shape that this story was going to take and looking like it was taking is not the story we're interested in telling. We're going to do this other thing, and it's so good. And this game right away, like, I was expecting it to be hard. I was expecting to have like a storm the beaches of Normandy moment, and a lot of people going to die, but we were going to set up a base camp or something like that. I was not expecting for it to cut to black after everyone fucking dies.
100%. I don't know why, but when I was thinking about this as an expedition, I was truly imagining something like almost like a Mass Effect game. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm gonna have there's gonna be like the expedition's resources, and we're gonna have to manage that and do missions and stuff. And my sister is laughing at me in the chat because I'm saying this. Yeah, completely off. That's not how this game works at all.
No.
Yeah, turns out Emma, Gustav's sister, was not necessarily wrong.
No.
Yeah, this game rules, and I'm excited to play more of it. I'm gonna have to find time between being exhausted and playtesting Possum Boy and freaking out about things to try and play more of it.
But I think that will do it for this week. If you like what you heard today, you can head on over to www.rpgbook.club, where any all donations help us offset the cost of running the show. If you decide to donate $1 or more a month, you'll become one of our gadabouts and also get access to our bonus feed filled with after shows for every episode, as well as bonus seasons of the show, such as Tales of Podcastia, Escape Pod, and the JRPG canon, and in theory, Book Club no Kaseki. But we'll fucking see. If you up your donation to $5 or more each month, you will get to be one of our warriors, and you'll get your name read at the end of every episode, a little like this. Shouts to Dragon Slayer 19, Freddie Rodriguez, Aaron524, and Jfro Prime. And then if you really, really, really love us and you want to be one of our luminaries and donate $20 or more a month, you can get a short one-sentence shout-out to or advert read at the end of every episode, a little like this. Shoutouts to El Tantavi, who wants you to check out Aftermath.site, a worker-owned, reader-supported news site covering video games, the internet, and the cultures that surround them. Shout out to Kale Dranas, who says to check out Podcasters Assemble, a documentary-style, crowdsourced movie, hype, and rewatch podcast. Every season, podcasters from around the world are assembled to review, reminisce, and riff on a popular franchise. And then shoutouts to Vim K, who says, this rendered the Marshal momentarily too aghast to respond. Okay, I take it back. Frontline Titties isn't a real publication. And then shoutouts to It's Clair Time, who says, for you TTRPG nerds, check out Fabula Ultima. I'm not affiliated with the game, I just think it's neat. For RPG Book Club, I've been Sam.
I'm Bernard. Au revoir.
And I'm Trish. Guten Tag.